It's Zach Sang and the gang.
Are you the kind of person who lives all this life, right? Hoards all of these ideas, hoards these emotions, comes up with all these concepts and melodies.
Yeah.
You know, becomes a little bit of a recluse.
Yeah.
And then goes and writes. And then you come back and you emerge and you live life again almost like a mole rat. You get me?
You know what? I think
I don't know.
I think musicians are extreme people. We're very extreme, especially on the songwriting side. So I think when we experience something, it's like the best thing we've ever experienced in our entire life. And then when something slightly sad happens, it's the most devastating thing on the planet. Because we almost train ourselves to think like that, so we can pull from it from a writing perspective, if that makes sense. So that's what I've done anyway. There's probably songwriters listening going, nope, you're just weird.
No, I mean, overly dramatic, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, things have to...
Yeah, we love a drama.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to put yourself in that position to really experience it fully.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it's hard to write about something that you haven't really gone through.
Yeah, I hate putting myself in other people's experience. It's like oh, how's your life? Great, let's write about that I don't care about.
You can't do that.
So I mean, I really respect people who can do that, but I think I always find the songs that I connect to personally are the songs that have come from other people's personal experiences, like when I listen to Adele's music and Sam Smith's music, you can tell they've been through it.
Yes.
And that's really, really great to listen to.
Okay, what was the tipping point in this relationship that sparked over and over again? Was there a defining moment that you can look back on and say, okay, that did it. I wrote the song then.
You know what it was? It was when I got back from LA and I had a meeting with the label in London, and they sat there, they were like, so the album must be done, right? This is great. Like, congratulations. You've got a fantastic debut album. I was like, no, it's not finished. And they were like, why? I was like, all the ballads are quite depressing. And I need to say something that's positive and is looking on the happier side of love and all that. And they were like, cool, where do you want to write the song? I was like, LA. They're like, you want a holiday? Shut up. You want a holiday? I'm like, no, I'm serious. Get me out to LA for 3 days. I've got 2 things I need to say. I need to bring closure to the record, and I need to write a love song. So I flew out and wrote the 2 songs and flew straight back. And that was the end of the album until the start of this year. And then I started writing again. And I was like, yeah, I like this idea. So I got back in the studio again. And I'm just finishing up some other stuff as well. But I'm not sure where that's going to go, because the album was done. It was like mixed, mastered, ready to go whenever.
And now it's changing.
And now I've written some more songs, and I'm really liking some of them. So I'm just like, oh.
Have you always been writing?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of them people that constantly writes. I write in the shower. It's really weird.
How does that work?
Soggy papers.
Yeah, that would be odd.
You write lyrics in the mist on your shower.
You know what? I have done before. Like I've written song titles there, so I don't forget it. So when I get out, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But normally I just hang out of the shower awkwardly and then like sing into my voice notes on my phone.
Okay.
And you can like hear the shower going in the background. And there's a song on the album. Actually, there's 2 songs that I wrote most in the shower. A song called Money, a song called Famous, that mostly were written in the shower.
That's like a vulnerable moment. You're naked in the shower. You're writing music about your life that's emotional.
You're very exposed.
That's wow. Wow.
You don't want to get robbed in that moment, you know?
No.
It's like the worst time to get robbed.
Yeah, especially if your phone's unlocked as well, because then they've got all your voice notes and you're naked in the shower and you're being robbed. It's not ideal.
That's beautiful a little bit. It's nice. I like that.
Be a great music video.
I feel like there was times when I would see with interesting music video. I feel like there's times that I would see with Ariana where I was like, where I would think like, you know what? He might write a song about that moment. You know?
Funny.
This date was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
something might come out of this.
Yeah, it was always eventful. And she's great as well, especially getting her on over and over again. Awesome. I was in London after we released a song in the UK, and I was like, who'd sound great on this song? Who'd absolutely kill it? And I was like, Ari. So we got in contact, and she was like, you know what, I'd love to. Which is awesome, because obviously we did Almost It's Never Enough together.
Which, by the way, like, beautiful still.
But that's where I met Harmony Samuels, who's the executive producer of my album now. So
That's
it's
cool.
kind of coming a full circle, and I wrote over and over again with harmony.
Hell yeah.
And now Ari's featuring on this. So it's kind of coming a full
Yeah.
circle. I love it.
Were you guys in the same studio when you recorded it, or was it like she was one place, you were
I
somewhere
think
else?
she recorded Almost Is Never Enough in the same studio that I recorded over and over again in, but I recorded Almost Never Enough in London because I couldn't get to LA because I think I was working in London at the time. But I think it shows maturity, like real maturity.
Yes.
The fact that whatever happened in the past happened, but we can kind of put that to one side and go, you know what, the main thing here is music. Like, we both love music. I've got massive respect for her as an artist. I think she's an incredible vocalist, and she absolutely killed it. So I think it shows, especially for us at quite a young age still.
Yeah.
I think it shows great maturity.
Hell yeah. And you sound beautiful together.
Thanks.
You really do. It's
Cheers.
nice. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it feels like the song like lifts when she starts singing.
Yeah.
It's like the heavens have opened and she arrives.
Her vocal is crazy.
It's ridiculous.
It's always crazy. It's
Yeah, I remember getting it back and I was just like, yep, there she is.
Do you
Killed
think
it again.
Do you think there's any like awkwardness like working with your ex or no?
I don't think so. I think it's only as awkward as you let it become. I remember speaking to her about it. I was like, this can't even be awkward because we're not going to let it get awkward.
No.
And I know that like people in media are going to be like, oh, exes are working together and try and make it awkward. And I'm probably going to get asked a lot of awkward questions to try and make me slip up and say something
Of
that's
course.
going to make it awkward. But I think most importantly, that feels like a long time ago. Like, it feels like 300 years ago.
well, because like, let's be real. In your life right now, it kind of
Yeah.
was a lifetime ago.
Exactly.
It was a different band ago. It was
Yeah.
a different project ago.
Yeah.
I mean, when was it? 3 years ago?
Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, I would think.
If not, at least.
3.5?
Yeah, it must be.
It's
So
been
that's
a while.
long time ago. So I think we've both grown up so much. We're in a very, I think from the ages of like 18, 19
Yeah.
to 21,
Totally.
22, it's a huge time
It's a
in
different
people's life.
life.
You're a different person. It's like, if I look back and go, I was a child. I mean, not literally. I mean, like,
Yeah.
but I was young, and like, I think, especially being in a band, being the young one in a band, you're made to feel a lot younger than you actually are as well. So whereas all my friends were at uni, kind of, like learning about life, I was still the young one in the band and very much being looked after and stuff like that. So I was mentally quite young as well. So I think I've had to grow up a lot in the last few years. And it's cool.
When you look back today, because you've been doing this a while. I mean, you won a Britney Spears karaoke competition when you were 6 years old.
Certainly did.
I mean, come on. And then
Yeah.
from that moment on, you did a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you acted a little bit. You sang
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
And then you joined The Wanted. They have an open audition.
Yeah.
You're the youngest in this band.
Yeah.
Is there a part of you working with these guys and them treating you like the baby of the group that kind of pisses you off? Because if you look at it now, I mean, you were the one with the real musical chops, right? You can sing, you can write, you can do everything.
You know what? I think what's great about the band is that everyone was individually very talented
Yeah.
because it was an open audition and everyone got in the band on their own merit. I think almost very similar to the One Direction setup because they all auditioned as soloists.
Yeah.
And especially for me, I went into the band, especially about 3 auditions in, when I remember them cutting about 150 people and there was like 50 people left. And I was sat there and I looked around the room and the next person in age was Jay and he was 19 and I was like 15, 16 and I was like, there's no way I'm going to get in this band.
Yeah.
I'm so young compared to the rest of them. And then I was just like, well, you know what? It's an experience and you're performing in front of very, very high up people in the
Yes.
industry. I was like, I'm just going to sing whatever. I'm going to forget about auditioning for a boy, but now I'm just going to be me. So I remember the next audition, I walked in and sang Stevie Wonder Lately. And I was like, I don't care. But then that was the audition that got me in
That
the
was
band.
it. Yeah, I mean, like, how many boy banders are going to audition to that song? I mean, like,
Especially at the age of 16.
Exactly.
I think they thought that arrogance that he's going to walk in and sing that song in a very high key, I remember right as well. I think it's a bit too high. I think that's kind of what did it. But, you know, I think it's weird when you first get in the band. I remember kind of, especially with producers, they were like, oh no, your time will come. Like, you're a bit too young to sing on this record. I'm like, hang on, I'm the same as the rest of them. They're like,
Exactly.
yeah, but they've been through more, so it's more believable if they sing this about this and this. And I was just like,
Oh, nonsense.
no, okay. So I kind of like, I got very quiet, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you only ended up writing like 2 songs for The Wanted.
Yeah. Both of which were singles, I must add.
Congratulations. Go.
Did you ever feel like Zayn at that point? Because Zayn always says like he didn't really feel like he fit into One Direction.
No, you know what? I very much felt like I fitted into the band, and like it was great, especially with the team and the guys. It was very much. It was like a family, which like I loved. Like we all like very much loved each other, still do, and all care for each other and care about each other. Like it was, if someone saw like someone was getting a hard time by the press or something like that, we'd go into like defense mode. Like it was like
Good.
ruthless the
Yeah.
way like we kind of just gathered around each other.
Well, you had the famous One Direction feud. I mean, that was massive.
I
There was a
mean-
few.
What I mean with that, I kind of just went, like the defense thing kind of went. I was like, no, I'm not very confrontational. I'm not very good at this. So I kind of just went into hiding. I was like, no, I'm fine, thank you. Not me, not today. Thank you very much.
You do that strategically, yes?
I know, I just hate arguments. I hate conflict. I hate all sorts of stuff. So when I saw all the drama that was going on, I was like, I just don't know what to do. I've never been in a fight in my life. I've never had an argument with anyone. I hate any sort of like aggression. And it was a really kind of stressful time. And I was just like, peace and love, directionism. Guys, it's totally cool. I was like, I like them. So
I'm a huge fan.
I was petrified. I think I was listening to One Direction at the time it was kicking off, and I went on Twitter and I was just like, what on earth has happened here? And it was vicious, and I was getting like death threats out of nowhere. I was like, I haven't even said anything and I'm getting death threats.
How exactly did it start?
You know what? I can't even remember. I don't even think they can remember. I remember seeing Liam a few months ago, and he went, what on earth even happened with that? And it was all very odd, I think. But yeah, there was a few little feud moments. I just never got involved in them. I think when it comes to that sort of stuff, I'm just like, no, not me.
But you really aren't confrontational. I remember, like,
No.
I think we had a dispute a little bit once, and like you didn't really like get angry, but like you couldn't really express much.
Nope.
It was the nicest I've ever like been kind of yelled at.
I mean,
It was,
yeah,
thank
I'd
you.
just be like, no, I disagree with you.
That's exactly how you did it.
That's how I do it.
I expected worse.
You know, I had a dream last night, and it was a really, really scary dream. I like that someone had gone on Twitter and just decided to absolutely annihilate me for just no apparent reason. And I remember just waking up this morning, like sweating out of panic. And I just remember I woke up, I was like, what would I do? And I was like, I ended up replying like, oh, well, I'm very sorry you feel that way. But I'm a big fan of you, and I really hope you get over this moment in your life. So I'm so undramatic with stuff like that. That I can't be bothered with it.
Okay, doing this since you were 6, do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Yeah, I was 14. It was a song. Oh, what's it called? It's right at the piano when I was 14 about my girlfriend at the time. It was really cute, actually. I used it as the audition for the band. I can't remember what the song's called.
Give me a lyric. Do you remember any of it?
No, it was very nice.
What's the biggest thing you learned over the years? I mean, you've been, again, like we talked, you've been through like career waves. You've essentially had a few different careers here.
Absolutely.
You learn
I
a
think
lot.
from kind of being signed and then like going through all that, and then there was like the highs, the lows, and then nothing very quickly.
Yeah.
And then okay, this is brutal, this industry. And then kind of picking myself back up and getting back into the writing. The one thing that I've learned, just be yourself. Like if you try and be someone that you're not, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
No one's going to believe you if you don't believe in yourself. And that's kind of what I look into on track 1 on the album, is a song called Good Things Coming to Those Who Wait, as it stands anyway. And I'm just telling it's like a note to myself, just telling myself like, chill, like just be yourself, like take your time, like just don't pretend to be somebody that you're not. It's like, because it's going to be fine.
There must be a moment of realization when you sit down with yourself after a really long day and you go, you know what? Today was cool, but I wasn't me.
I think sometimes you can kind of adapt to different situations because I think I've got a few different gears in my personality.
Yeah.
I've got like the very young side because at the end of the day I am still 22, so I can be a complete nutter child when I want to be. Ask my manager. Like I can be a nightmare when I want to be, but then at the same time I can sit down, I'm not going to, but sit down and have a conversation about politics and stuff like that. So it's like I do think that I like to have different parts of my personality that I like to tap into. So I don't feel that I'm ever someone that I'm not, because I think I've kind of got over that. Because I think especially when you're in a band, you try and impress people.
Yeah.
Like I've never had like older brothers, but I think it's how it would feel to have older brothers. Like you're trying to kind of do stuff to impress them and like start chatting up someone to be like, look who I'm chatting up. And do you know what I mean? It's like silly stuff like that. And then I was just like, no, that's not me. So then I kind of got over that as I grew up, I think. And yeah, it's all part of the learning curve, I think for anyone, because I think people in normal day experiences, I think when people are at school, they try and impress their mates and be like, hey, look what I'm doing. Look at me throwing a pencil at the teacher. Not that I advise that, but yeah.
You do what it takes to be cool.
I think so, but I've kind of got comfortable with the fact that I'm just not. So I've just...
You've accepted it.
Yeah, completely and utterly accepted it. It's like I'm here for the complete and utter nerds in life and I'm just representing. It's like the nicest unnice thing on the planet. Like the idea behind it. Just put your heart in my hands. Promise